How do you improve one of the best-selling motorcycles on the market? It is not an easy task, but Kawasaki has taken on this mammoth challenge. This is the new Z650 S. What is behind it and whether the level up has worked, you will find out in this video. And with that, a very warm welcome to 1000 PSTV, where today I got to ride the new Kawasaki Z650 S. The Z650, I already said it, is one of the best-selling motorcycles, a real success story for Kawasaki. And that is not just an empty phrase, the figures back it up. In Germany, the Z650 was in third place among the best-selling motorcycles in the year 2025, beaten only by the Z900 and a Bavarian travel enduro whose name I probably do not even need to mention. And in Austria too, it was in second place among the best-selling naked bikes of 2025, again only beaten by its big grandmother, the Z900. That means the Z650 and now the Z650 S appeals to a very large number of people. And according to my current information, the Z650 is staying with us as well, at least for this year. Although Kawasaki has already said that the focus is now on the new S version and the Z650 is slipping a little into the background. I have already said it before, new Z650 S. What is actually new about it? We will take a look at that in the walkaround. So now let us take a proper look at the new Kawasaki Z650 S in detail. What is new then? Well, first and foremost, of course, the new front mask. Inspired by the Z900, the idea here was to give it a sharper look, a slightly more modern look. The old LED headlight works well and looks modern, but this definitely looks a bit fresher again. Otherwise, at the front we still have a telescopic fork, not adjustable. The telescopic fork is a good setup for a bike like this. Then up front we still have two 300mm brake discs with twin piston calipers from Nissin. If we keep looking, here we have the black-grey version with the gold frame. Something a bit different from Kawasaki for once, and I personally like it a lot. Then of course here we have the star of the Z650 S, the parallel twin. It is a familiar unit, 68 horsepower, 64 Newton meters of torque, now also available optionally with a quick shifter, and this engine simply works. It does not have any huge peaks in the power delivery, so the power curve with this engine is relatively flat, but that is exactly what makes it so accessible. You can always ride it well, no matter the conditions. And because of that, it does not really matter that you do not have riding modes or anything like that, because this engine just runs well. Of course, we have traction control on board, two-stage and fully switchable off, and with that the Z650 can be guided really nicely. Also very nice for this class, I think, is the banana swing arm. Very often in this performance and price range you only get a boring box section swing arm. Here we have a lovely banana swing arm, and that makes the whole thing feel a bit more premium again. At the rear we have a new tail light inspired by the Z500, which means by the little sister of the Z650 S. It looks a bit more modern and gives it a fresh design from the rear as well. I like it. But what I really like are not just my Vanucci gloves, which are slipping away from me, but the new ergonomics. We now have a taller seat, an 810mm seat height. That means the seat has more padding and it has also been made wider, which gives you more comfort. The same, by the way, also applies to the pillion seat, which has also been made wider. But thanks to the low frame, the inside leg arc is still not that high, which means that even with shorter legs you can still get along with it very well. If we move on to the handlebar, that has also been changed for the ergonomics. The handlebar is now positioned further forward and higher up, and that is meant to open up the riding position a little. In other words, taller riders should also feel more comfortable here. I also really like the new display. I have it here in this layout with an almost analog style rev counter that moves upwards. Speed is over here on the right and you can customize that. You can also have a pure bar display up here, and you can see Kawasaki traction control set to level 2, level 1 and off are also available. Another real highlight in this performance class and in this price class are the levers. Both the clutch lever and the brake lever are fully adjustable. That is not something you can take for granted in this class of bike. But they have done it here, and I really think it is a brilliant plus point because they want to appeal to beginners, and especially they need the levers exactly where they feel comfortable so that they feel safe. Right then, that is enough for the walk around of the new Kawasaki Z650 S. Now let us take a look at the riding position. Before we look at the riding position, I just want to draw your attention briefly to my outfit, because the Z650 S is a very beginner-friendly and returning rider-friendly motorcycle, and above all it is a price-conscious motorcycle. So I dressed in a price-conscious way today as well. I went to Lewis, where I got my start back in the day on a motorcycle, and kitted myself out with a stylish leather jacket and a pair of jeans, as well as shoes and gloves, all from Vanucci, and a stylish Nishua helmet to round off the outfit. Very price conscious, and above all it really took me back to my early days of motorcycling when I was standing in Louis 12 years ago and putting my outfit together. If you want to know more about the outfit, I have linked every product for you in the description. But now let us get back to the Z650 S and its riding position. I am 1.75 meters tall. We have an 805mm seat height, and you can still see that the stance works. Both feet are flat on the ground. I can control it well underneath me. We have a curb weight of 190 kilograms, and accordingly it is still very accessible because the frame remains unchanged, which means the inside leg reach is still low, and you can still handle this motorcycle well even if you are shorter. And if you need an even lower seat height, there is an accessory seat available that sits lower still. That means you have that option here. If we look at the riding position, the handlebar has moved further forward and further upward to open up the ergonomics a little more. The foot peg position has also been changed. And now the Z650 S is the way you always wish the Z650 had been. In other words, even I, at 1.75 meters, no longer feel big on this motorcycle. I feel nicely held within the bike here, and from a naked bike ergonomics point of view, it is exactly how you would want it. The handlebar has also become wider. That means I can guide the motorcycle even more comfortably. And that gives me more confidence when I'm out on country roads. I think I already mentioned it in the walk around, but I want to highlight it again as a positive point. Both levers on the Z650 S are adjustable as standard. That is not normal in this vehicle and price class. So here you really can adapt the bike to your own hands exactly the way you want. But now let us get to what really matters, namely what is the new Kawasaki Z650 S actually like to ride. We started today in the city, and Kawasaki also sees this naked bike as a commuter bike, as an everyday bike. So whether you are riding to school, to university or to work, it is meant to handle that, just as much as a nice ride out on country roads. And in the city you can really feel that accessibility from the bike again. First and foremost, the clutch stood out to me. It is pleasantly light to operate and easy to modulate. I have a clear biting point on the clutch. And the throttle response is also very nice and smooth. That means I can guide the Z650 S really comfortably at low speed, put it exactly where I want it. And on top of that, of course, there is the comfortable ergonomics, which make it easy if I need to put a foot down quickly. That means in the city and in everyday use, you really can recommend the Z650 S to almost anyone. It is an easy motorcycle to guide and it makes everyday life easier. But the real highlight today was definitely out on the country roads. We were riding along the Costa del Mar in Spain. And in fact, exactly there is where I rode the predecessor to the Z650 S 6 years ago, the version without the S. We rode the same road and basically took exactly the same photos. So you really can compare it nicely. And here you could really feel that this ergonomic adjustment has made a difference. Because on the Costa del Mar, I hope you can see it in the footage, it is what feels like 20 minutes of one corner after another. That is genuinely mentally demanding when you have had a long winter behind you. So you really have to stay sharp and move around on the bike a lot to find a good line. And on the new S version that is now really possible, because after a while I am not physically worn out because the bike has become too small for me. Apart from that, on this beautiful road, the Costa del Mar, I really can recommend it to you. The The Z650 is just fun. We have a slim 160 rear tire, a curb weight of 190 kilograms, and that means it can be guided beautifully through the bends. You do not have to think much. You look into the corner and underneath you it does exactly what you want. That is properly good fun. The engine is often criticized, I would say, because it does not have the biggest power peak and does not bring the greatest emotional punch. But I think that is perfectly fine on this motorcycle because the engine is accessible. I always know it is not going to surprise me. I can open the throttle smoothly, and if you also fit the optional quick shifter, which by the way costs 279 euros, then you can shift up even faster. You could criticize the fact that the quick shifter is a bit abrupt at low revs, but honestly, let us just be glad that we can have it now. It suits the Z650 S well. That means both on country roads and in the city, the new S version has lost none of its good qualities. In other words, accessibility and easy rideability. It has simply become better once again, and that is where I really want to start moving towards the conclusion. The new Z650S is now finally the way the Z650S should be. That means we now have ergonomics that are accessible to more people. We have a quick shifter on board, but we still have that easy rideability and a motorcycle that you really could hand to anyone and let them ride. And on top of that, and that brings me to the final word, the price is attractive. In Germany and Austria it sits just under 8,000 euros. You can then dress it up with different versions. We have performance and we have sport. In the performance version, we then also get an Akrapovic exhaust on board. That gives it a slightly nicer sound, I would say. But even as it is, in terms of sound, it is good. I would not really need it. So as you can see, I do not have much to criticize on the new Kawasaki Z650 S, because the base bike was good, and with the changes already mentioned, it has now finally become as good as it always deserved to be. That is it from me and the new Kawasaki Z650 S. I arrived at this presentation on a motorcycle. Tomorrow I will be doing a sort of theoretical comparison with the Kawasaki on that bike. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you do not want to miss it. And of course, stay with us. We are in Spain right now. There are lots of exciting videos waiting for you here. So we will see each other in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye and take care.